What's up? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this beautifully honest reaction.
Talk to me nice, talk to me honestly. Look in my eyes, don't let it fall on me. Say you're a good guy, make me believe it. Don't wanna hear it, I wanna see it. See how rewind, when we rewind, feels so nice.
All right, guys, so we know Beyoncé is on her Cowboy Carter tour, and although I believe she enjoys her craft, she enjoys what she does. Obviously, she's doing it for the money too. Like, let's be serious. But also, it has been reported that the sales of the tour have not been the greatest. The ticket prices have been very high in the beginning, and because of the availability of them, the prices have been dropping so that people could, get those tickets more affordably and go and enjoy the concert. Some people felt like, well, look, with the way the economy is right now, that's no surprise, which is true. And then some people also feel like, well, she just did a tour. What was it? Last year or the year before. So it's like, that was a very expensive tour. Now you're doing another tour. And does she even really want to be doing this tour right now? Because touring is a lot. And some people have noticed that she's not dancing as much as she used to. I mean, Beyonce is not a teenager anymore. So that is understandable. And the woman is probably tired, okay? But Tasha K was breaking down some things that I did not hear about, which was regarding the finances. So let's just go ahead and get into it and see what she had to say about them allegedly being denied millions in loans. All right, guys. So let's see what she had to say.
Hanging on with this Jay-Z and Beyonce thing. So a lot of people have been reporting based off of Jay-Z's amended lawsuit towards Tony Busby and the alleged victim that claims that he was around when, Diddy was doing the taking. Okay. 13-year-old girl at the time. We've already debunked that, in my opinion, based off of my investigation of where he was and where this took place and how she got there and everything. It just was not true. It gave very much Jaguar right. Okay. Now here's the thing. But when lawsuits and things get filed against you and you got heavy allegations like this against you, it can hurt your reputation. And so he amended his lawsuit to say that he lost almost $20 million. And he also lost, he was denied a $115 million loan from Roc Nation and also a $55 million line of credit. I guess that he was taken out on one of his properties, because I do know that he is trying to personally, him and Beyonce, move and relocate to the UK to buy another home in a very affluent neighborhood in the UK. And now my kind of gut instinct on that, because I couldn't really get everything when it comes to that, but it has a lot to do with the tariffs. America shutting down to the outside world. It is starting to begin to feel like a communist country. And, they got a lot of business they got to do. And so the UK does have tariffs, but they're not tariffs that, hurt other businesses. And so the United States doesn't have, large tariffs on the UK. So if they were doing business as residents and as a business in the UK, they could have things shipped there and then shipped to the United States so they can ship from China to ship to y'all. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like he's bypassing it. And because they are denying him loans based off of reputational damage and things like that, not based off of his asset worth. It has a lot to do with his character and things like that and who you're associated with. He's deciding to take his banking and his business dealings outside of the US so that he can establish residency in the UK and they can give him loans based off of that. But I hope he knows they have debtors jail over there. Okay. But it's okay. He's obviously he's a better business person than I am, and he's made it. But here's the issue that I have, okay? Because he's trying to recoup, I guess, some of this and use this lawsuit as leverage to help save his reputation. Because needing a $55 million line of credit off of some of your assets and $115 million business line, I guess a loan for Roc Nation to help expand it and keep it going. It's a lot of money. And you would think, why won't he use his own money? Well, it's because he got to pay taxes on his own money, or he doesn't have the money.
And that's the thing, guys. Just because somebody is super wealthy or listed as super wealthy, we don't they have like what we would see as what their net worth is, but we don't know what their day to day, month to month, week to week expenses are. And the type of life that they live, it is extremely expensive. And for a lot of those people, unless they're forced to downsize or sell assets and get, rid of things so that they can get cash because of ego, a lot of them, they don't want to do that. And it's not just them, because even I don't even want to say, because all of us are regular people, but you know what I mean, those of us who are living regular lifestyles, even some of us where it's like you're used to driving a certain type of vehicle, but because things have shifted in your life, it's like, I don't want to drive that type of car. I'm used to driving this type of car, but unless you're forced to do that, you don't really want to do that. So it's like, in a way, I understand it, but also it's like when your ego has become so inflated, because isn't their house like the size of an airport? And that's just one of the homes that they have. Maybe you need to downsize some things.
Because if he had the money, he wouldn't be asking for it. And if he really needed the money, he would cash in some of his assets. But he's not willing to do that, because then you got to pay a hefty tax on those assets. So when they start collecting art and houses and all this stuff, that's what they use as collateral to the banks in order to scale their businesses, but they're still in debt. So let the appreciation, let the house depreciate, let the art depreciate and all the other assets they got. They stuck on them because millions of dollars. And yes, they get bankrupt, of course, and keep going. But like, these loans, if I was a bank, I would have told him no too, because we sees what happened. They have allowed the industry to operate the way that it has for so many years, that when you do have incidences like this, you're guilty before you're proven innocent. So it hurts your bottom line. And
That part, it's the association with it. Even if you didn't do what that person who filed that lawsuit claimed that you did, we already know how it is in the court of public opinion. And then also his association before with Kanye, who's now out here doing songs called Heil or Hail Hitler. Just, I heard a snippet of it because somebody that I follow on their YouTube channel, they were like, look, I'm doing this not because I know it's not going to get monetized, but I'm not doing this for that. I'm doing this to bring awareness to the fact that this man really is nuts. But it's insane. And so, yeah, Kanye's been saying all these crazy things out here about their children and things like that. People still look at him in having an association with Kanye West and Diddy. Kanye's out here um, calling their children the R word and all the other things that he's saying about his own children and other people that he's saying, and he's talking about he's a Nazi and all that stuff. And then the other one that he was associated with, that he tried to come out and say that they weren't friends, but all these pictures of you two, and it's like, it doesn't look like you're just business associates to me. That other one is on trial right now. So yeah, some may say, "Oh, he's a billionaire. Why would anyone turn him down for loans, or why does he even need to get loans?" But like Tasha said, which is true, you have assets. You use those as leverage to use other people's money versus having to use your own. So and a lot of these entertainers, let's be honest, they'll call them billionaires, but in the grand scheme of it all, when things start really getting pulled back, if they do get pulled back, in a moment's notice, that so-called net worth, it drops. It drops quickly, and it drops a lot. So he's not out here touring, he's not out here performing, but she is.
anybody can come and make any sort of allegation, whether it be real or whether it be fake. You're going to have to take the step back and sit down. And that's what he's having to do while he's out looking for houses in the UK, that he's probably going to need that equity line of credit to secure a line of credit to buy a house in the UK so that he can settle down and actually plant a residence there. And so because they've denied him, that was the reason why Beyonce announced her tour at Christmas and got on tour to give y'all the same act that she gave y'all for Renaissance. But she's Beyonce. Of course, it's going to be a fantastic show. I'll see it 3 times. I'll see it 4 times. Right now, she's currently doing a residency in LA. She's doing her own residency in LA. Now, one thing we know about tours is that they yield you liquid cash. So she started off with only maybe a couple cities. It was like 5 or 6. And, it started off with 2 shows in LA. Then it went to 3. Then it went to 4. Then it went to 5. And it says, keep selling because he's not able to leverage loans. And so when it comes to Jay-Z and Beyonce and why I feel that a lot of their businesses, especially her businesses, end up failing is because she is so disassociated from reality. And so is he. And I think maybe it comes from him because like when you come from the world of selling drugs, you're a risk taker, which means you're willing to put it all on the line to bet big. That's gambling. And he is a big gambler. They've dropped pictures in high stakes private rooms with other billionaires with them gambling for millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. She's in there with whiskey, cigars, high-end cigars. And then they forget that it's common everyday people that sustain them, but because they've been living off of assets and bank loans, and they've been coming into a lot of cash and not having to go out and knock on door after door to sell products.
And I don't think they forget. And I mean, honestly, I just don't really think they really care. I really don't. I really believe that they become so numb to it where we who are the consumers, they just look at us as that. So they just feel like anytime they drop something, when I say we, I'm just speaking as consumers as a whole, we're just going to buy it. If they announce a tour, we're going to buy the tickets. We're going to travel to wherever we have to travel to go to that show. They drop a product, we're going to buy it. And that's the sad part because I think about that stuff sometimes myself as a business owner because I provide services and products as well. But we live in a capitalist society, so that's pretty much what it is. But I often think about that too. It's like the people who are the customers or the clients, I care about them because I know that a lot of them, they may be going through things and they're struggling and suffering too. I mean, I have a cost that I have to operate a business, but I still think about that when it comes to my services and my products. And I'm not just, well, everything is this price where it's out of reach for a lot of people. I have options and I have choices. And so when they do concerts and they drop products and they're just so expensive, I think about stuff like that sometimes. It's like, do they even really care about their consumers? But I don't really believe they do because they seem like they're extremely out of touch. And I would think most billionaires or close to billionaires are.
That's the reason her products sell is because who's about to buy a $100 bottle of whiskey? Ivy Park. I think the celebrities got it first before we got it. I think this is probably the first product, her Sacred, that was in a store that was even remotely affordable for a regular person. And so when their businesses don't work, they got to start a whole new one.
And that is the truth. Now, I wasn't into any of her products, but I remember hearing about the Ivy Park stuff and how she was gifting it to all of these celebrities. And I guess she felt like this is my opinion now. I My opinion is I felt like she thought so little of the her consumers or her followers or her fans or her quote unquote beehive. She just felt like, oh, because I'm Beyonce and I'm gifting it to these celebrities and they're going to promote it on their social media. There's My fan base is so hyped. They're just going to go buy it off of the strength of knowing that I gifted it to this amazing celebrity and they're wearing it and they're promoting it. So now they're going to go and buy it. And then the stuff is expensive.
And so with him being denied all this money so that he can help expand or buy houses and leverage his businesses and use debt to leverage, more money and more wealth so he doesn't have to cash in and devalue and depreciate the very things that he uses in order to stretch out his money, he sends his bitch on the road. He's the pimp.
Ooh, child. That might be a bit harsh, but look, I mean, I'm saying he's not out there performing. She is. And listen, you can take it how you want to take it. I'm not saying Tasha's right in her assessment of it, but a lot of people can view this situation and look at it in a similar way. He's older. She's young and beautiful. She's got the talent. He it's I mean, look at this crap on his head. Shave that crap off. And we already know that's not his hair. But anyway, like I said, it might be a harsh assessment, but a lot of people could view it in that way and say, you know what, she does have a point.
And she gonna be out there night after night, foot broken, ankle trying to heal. She barely dancing, but she got blue out there. He said, now get Rumi ass to the stage now. I need my money. Y'all think I'm playing, don't you? We pulled the records. $800,000 liens on properties that she got. $800,000 in a lawsuit fighting the IRS over a $3 million debt.
And that is true. I don't know if you all heard about that, but I remember when that story broke about the IRS debt and she's trying to contest it. And some of us are like, just, I mean, that's the reason why the nation, and it's not just Beyonce's fault, so I'm not trying to blame her, but it's like the super rich and wealthy, they never want to pay their taxes, and it's like the percentage may be high and you may not see it as fair, but the amount of money that you owe in taxes is not going to break you like it would break some of us common regular folk.
That's not stuff that billionaires do. Come on. They're leveraging debt to leverage wealth, which essentially means they're liquid cash broke. The only way they bring in liquid cash is through her because he can't do it. His tours ain't gonna sell. Nobody's going out. He ain't got Kanye with him. Ain't nobody going to see Jay-Z at all. They're not going.
And that's the truth, guys. Um, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna hold you. I really believe she has a lot of points. Of course, Tasha's gonna say it in the way that Tasha's gonna say it, but I just feel like a lot of the stuff that's happening right now with Kanye and Diddy, although he has done his best to try to disassociate himself from Diddy, and then also Kanye is out here wilding out, and he really needs to be in somebody's mental health facility, like locked in there, getting continual treatment because he really is sick. I'm not giving him excuses because he has the money to get the treatment. He's just got the arrogance and the pride where he's not listening to anybody that would say, look, dude, you really have issues and you really need to go to this place. And he's, I believe, is going to wind up being involuntarily committed because it's looking like it's going to that place. And then even though him and Kim aren't married anymore, somehow, some way, they're going to wind up getting all his money because she's got 4 kids with him. But I digress. He's disassociated himself from Kanye also. So we can't go back to the days of him and Easy performing together. That's completely done. Rock Nation brunches and all those different things like that. It's like those days are over. So it's looking like unless he could come up with some other type of grift, because I remember when that story came out about him and Will Smith investing into rent to own homes, which is one of the biggest grifts out there because a lot of times those things do not work out. I'm saying they may wind up having to sell some assets and downsize some things because it's like you really don't have to live in a home the size of an airport in order to keep yourself away from the regular folk. It's just some things that you're just going to have to change up. But I want to know what you guys think about all of this. What do you think about Tasha's thoughts on Jay being the proverbial pimp in the situation while B is out here on the you know what stroll performing and getting those coins to continue to live that lavish lifestyle? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.